All right, we're back, and this is the conclusion of our Frankford Arsenal wet tumbler review and kind of our testing on the Frankford Arsenal wash and also the brass juice wash. So what I found was you can do what you think are the same steps and somehow change it. We'll have a close-up of each one. So we've got brass juice here, and then this is the Frankford Arsenal case wash that comes with it. So the way I started out this test was I read the instructions, and in the instructions it said, if you have this much brass inside this container, go for about this long. So I didn't count out the brass. I probably should have to make it a little more consistent. That was definitely on me. And it recommended about 1 to 2 hours for under 500. So I used all 40 brass. This is all range brass. And I would fill this container about halfway full of brass, because then I felt I had enough room for agitation. Both of them were about the same. It was 1 ounce to 64 ounces of water. The only thing I didn't see on the instructions on here in both of them was saying it's 1 ounce to 64 ounces, but how much of the brass should be covered up in water. So for me, I just went off of that. I've never really done wet tumbling. So I was kind of like, well, it should be close enough. And it did cover all of the brass when it was sitting in there. So I figured that was enough to have for agitation and also for cleaning and everything. So went off of that. So Frankford Arsenal, I would highly recommend, if you're going to use that stuff, use the pins. It says you don't need it if you are not depriming it. It got all my brass clean, but when I used brass juice, it really made my clean Frankford Arsenal brass look dirty. So that was super impressive. So I did all of these brass juice, and then all of them I did tap water right out of the tap. Same ratio, about the same brass, maybe give or take some, and they all tumbled for 2 hours apiece. Brass juice contacted me directly and saw that we were doing a test and was kind of inquiring, which was kind of funny. Saw, and I think it was my second iteration, so it was this one, was saying, hey, that doesn't look like the way it should be. You know, what are you doing with your setup and everything? And so we talked about it, and I wanted to give this stuff a chance because I've seen amazing results. So I continued the rest of the way the standard. I didn't want to change things halfway through, but I did have brass to clean. So this, this is gonna do, we'll do a close up. I did some 223 brass, and I followed his instructions the way he explained it, and it was make sure you use hot water, even if it's tap, make sure it's hot water, and then mix your ratios and only do it for half an hour. So after doing these for 2 hours, I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll be clean, I don't know. And super impressed. You know, I don't even think you can get dry tumble brass that clean that fast. I know we've done a video, we kind of talked about it prior, the importance of having shiny clean brass. I still stand by my statement, function wise, especially for pistol brass, it is not required. it's nice to have it clean. And our biggest thing was the amount of time it takes to get it that clean. After using brass juice, if you only have to do it for half an hour, I mean, shoot, if you're getting results, that are, almost looks brand new, like you got it from Starline, yeah, I think that's a great investment. It takes a little bit more effort to, process, but shoot, half an hour. Definitely if you're doing rifle, I would recommend doing that because, it's a little more needed, but for pistol, if you're doing batch stuff, it blows dry media out of the water, pun intended. I was super impressed. It is cool to see the brass all shiny and pretty. Kind of some takeaways from all of this. Try to be consistent and try to make sure that you're exact with your measurements. If you have any recommendations of fluid to quantity of brass, I haven't dived into this yet, but leave a comment below if you have any, like, hey, normally I do, this amount of brass or weight or whatever, and this much fluid, or maybe a visual indicator of, if it's in the tumbler and as long as it's, an inch above. Someone sent me a video on Instagram. They used the exact same setup, but they used Dawn and Lemmy Shine, and they filled it to the tippy top. Like, there's no air in there. From what I understand from cleaning stuff, you technically want air because then it creates agitation, which also creates the suds, which helps clean. So correct me if I'm wrong. The tumbler itself, so the review on just this, awesome. Super simple. I like that it has the edges on it are raised. It makes it opening and closing a lot easier. If you get one of these, or if you win, we'll talk about that in a second. Make sure that everything's dry before you throw it on. In the instructions, it says if it doesn't roll, to roll 10 times and then it should. I've noticed that I never had an issue. It was mainly if it was wet. If these rollers are wet, and even if this is, these wheels will spin and this will just sit here. So I just had a towel I would wipe down real quick and no issues after that. If you don't want it, it will leak a little bit at first, but then usually it kind of seals itself up and then it's fine. If you don't want it to leak at all, it does have two sides. So what I did is I would fill it up with water, and then before I closed everything, I would wipe down the gaskets and everything really good so they're dry, and then that would actually seal it up really well. And that would help prevent from leaking at all. So a little more extra effort. I didn't see the purpose of having two sides. I've got another wet tumble in our reloading room that I'm going to start using. I was checking that out to compare, which we'll do another video. I'm kind of now getting into the whole brass cleaning thing, so we're going to do a couple of videos out of this. That's the only other thing I would change, is only have it one-sided. I didn't think it was necessary to have two. It has clear sides, and it's cool at first, but brass is stronger than plastic, so within a couple of washes, all of this clear was, kind of etched, I guess, but had like little, dents from it. And so now it's all foggy. So it's kind of like, well, what was the point of having clear? Because now you can't see anything. Or at least you can, it's just not as clear as it started out as. So that was definitely kind of a, I don't know why, but it was cool. Other than that, it comes with your media. So two sides, you get two strainers. The way I used it, I just kind of kept one closed and used it as a one-sided, and I would just use one strainer. So that was kind of cool. But other than that, awesome setup. Definitely recommend it. I definitely think I like it better than dry media. I like, my only gripe with dry media, I think it does a good job cleaning. The only thing I don't like is sometimes having like the grit or stuff from when you clean it. And granted, I'm probably not the best at dry media. I use walnut and then I call it good. I do like this where I can rinse it, let it dry, and then it's completely ready to go. So definitely, that was one thing I really liked about this. So if you're wanting, and obviously I have a big display of this, if you're wanting to win this awesome setup with cool Accura stickers and everything on it, go to our website. We are adding, before I was only doing this in the Mighty Armory dies, we are adding Brass Juice Case Wash Cleaner. Now remember, if you're entering, remember this has been used. We had to use it for the review, so it will be slightly used. Everything's been cleaned and wiped down. This is almost a full thing. We only use a little bit. But we're also going to throw in, this is one of the last Accura brass butters. So throwing that in. And also we have the Brass Juice Handgun Case Lubricant. We are throwing that in as well. So this is going to be the full kit. We've got some other companies that are contacting us, so keep an eye on our giveaway. We might be throwing in some more stuff. So if you want to win this, check link below, be on our website. And if you have any input or comments or whatever, leave them below. We'd be more willing to listen. And stay safe, and I'll see you on the range.